Okay, here's my third start. Hopefully no phone calls or anything crazy. We're going to do the greatest integer. The greatest integer function may seem a bit strange, even weird to you all. It is denoted by this crazy symbol that is square brackets with a vertical line on either side attached. It answers one of two questions. On what integer are you currently standing? Or as you're moving from left to right, what integer is on your left? So as I'm moving along the number line, what integer did I just pass? That's my number that's the greatest integer. So I'm walking. I'm between -4 and -3. I'm -3 point something. My greatest integer is the one on my butt that I just passed, -4. I'm standing on -1. The greatest integer is -1. I'm continuing to walk. Now I'm between 2 and 3. I'm 2 point something, so my greatest integer is 2. So when I'm on an integer, that's my answer. The greatest integer of -3 is -3. This is red. The greatest integer of -2 is -2. The greatest integer of 0 is 0. The greatest integer of 4 is 4. Now when I'm a positive number, what integer is 0.8 between 0 and 1? 2.5 is between 2 and 3. 8.1 is between 8 and 9. And notice the actual integer that's on the left is in your number. The greatest integer is 0. The greatest integer is 2. The greatest integer is 8. I've not made it to the green numbers yet. I have just passed those. But now when I do negative numbers, it's a little strange. What number is this between? It's between the number -4 and -3. This one is between -2 and -1. This one's between -3 and -2. Notice the greatest integer isn't the integer you see, but it's going to always be the one on the left, and when you're a negative number, it's always one smaller than the integer you currently see. Now let's look at some graphs of greatest integer. So first, let's look at the baby, or what your book would call the parent. Y equals the greatest integer of x. So I always find out what makes the value 0. 0, and what's one more. So down here, I'm 0 and one more. And what do I know? The greatest integer is 0. Now, what's going on here is that these numbers right here are really the ordered pairs 0, 0, and 1, 0. This one is closed, and this one is open. So notice I came over here and plotted 0, 0, 1, 0, and I connected the horizontal segment. Now, how do I get the other points? I simply added 1, add 1, add 1, add 1. And now, this little horizontal segment is going to go to 1. So I'm going to have 1, I can get my marker pointed right, sorry guys. And I'm going to have 2, 1, and this one has the closed dot, and this one has the open dot. So I plotted 1, 1, and I plotted 2, 1. Now I want a third one, and so I'm now just going to go one smaller from the original, subtract 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, and now I'm at -1. And so this would give me -1, -1 closed, and 0, -1 open. And so I've plotted those. These are called ellipses down here, and this means dot, 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 etc., etc. And notice the greatest integer looks like stair steps, okay? Now, if I'd had a negative in front of the x, my stair steps would be going down, but you're only going to do positives, and they're all going to go up. And what's going to happen is the way I've taught you to do them, they're all going to look like this. It's just they can slide and start over here or over here. That's all that's going to happen when we do our examples. Okay, we're going to do one live together, but right now what I'm going to do is do the second example where I've already got it all set up and ready for us to go again. Now notice y equals the greatest integer of x plus 5. What makes a 0 negative 5? One more is negative 4. I write my play. Negative 5 to negative 4 is how I get a 0. I add 1, add 1, add 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, subtract 1. So notice, I'm going to be using negative 6, negative 1, and that was supposed to be a 5. 2, 3, 5, and 8. They're all interchangeable. You got to watch me like a hawk, folks. Negative 1, this one's always closed, this one's always open. So I came on my number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I plotted negative 6, negative 1, and negative 5, negative 1, and I closed it up. The next one, we have negative 5, 0, and negative 4, 0. And this one's closed and this one's open. So I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I plotted it, and it's open, and I closed it. For the red one, negative 5, 1 closed, negative 5, 1, negative 4, 1 closed, and negative 3, 1 open. So I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, up 1, over, and again, the ellipses, the dots, the ellipses, the dots, and notice it looks very close to the first one that we did. Almost exactly the same. All right, so now we're going to do the last one together. All right. Okay, and when we do the last one together, you're going to see how I think about it. So I've got some tick marks. And I'm going to say, okay, 6 and 5. So I've got 6 is less than x. That's a 7. I don't know where my brain is. And this goes to 0. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6, 7 are both at 0. So I've got my first step in. Then I don't care which one you do next, but I'm going to go up 1, and so I'm 1. So now this is 7. So 7 up 1, 8 is open. And I'm going to close it, and I know I'm going to have my little ellipses. And now for my last one, I'm going to go down 1, subtract 1, subtract 1, subtract 1. So here is my 5, closed, and 5 open, and my ellipses. And so this is how you do the greatest integer. Notice they're all going to look similar to each other. You have 6 of these to do, 3 where I say x plus a number, and those will look like the one, they'll all be over here, and then 3 with x minus a number, and they'll all be on this side.